Welcome to the Clyde FC podcast, brought to you by A State of Mind. I am Paul Shanks, and I am like a kid on Christmas Eve as we have the return of league football for the Bully Wee less than 24 hours away, and I was almost saying 48 hours. To discuss the big season ahead, I have been joined in the studio by Mr. Graham Murray. No internet issues tonight, I hope, Graham?
Well, there shouldn't be.
Right, that's all you're saying on that, right? Fair enough. And coming back after a couple of weeks off, and a new landscaper extraordinaire, I hear, Mr. Craig Black. Craig, how you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm all right. Good. Thanks. It's been 2 weeks of relaxation, of painting fences and building sheds.
Right, well, in that case, I might have a couple of jobs for you. So if anyone else wants their garden done, just leave a wee comment. Also, do get involved, because it's been relatively quick pre-season. There's obviously been quite a few games, Premier Sports Cup, the League Cup, whatever you want to call it, glorified pre-season for some people. But we will look back at the campaign, which did end last Saturday in defeat, which unfortunately meant we were knocked out. But in true Clyde fashion, there's a bit more to it than just that. There had to be a wee bit of drama and going from top to bottom in just the space of minutes. So, yeah, I'm with you, Kyle Hamilton. Roll on tomorrow, 3 o'clock. Cannot wait. Andrew, welcome to the show. Yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing, quite frankly, guys. Graham, before we look back on the games that have passed, how are you feeling ahead of this season? Generally speaking, how are you expecting this to pan out?
Well, personally, I'm absolutely buzzing. We were talking in the way in today about how, last season, even though watching the games on the television, obviously with my broadband, maybe was buffering a couple of times, but it just wasn't the same. So I can't wait to get back and cheer the boys.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying that it's not the same. You're sitting in your living room, with your dad. As much as he, tries to bring things along with a pie, and it's not the same. So hopefully we'll get off to a good start tomorrow and get us off to the start we want.
Yeah, it's a long season. Nothing's won in the first day, but Craig, really wanting to make a mark early doors, especially against a club that obviously last season we were going toe-to-toe against in the fight, dare I say it, for 8th place, which we were thankful enough to get to. Are you really hoping that the boys come out the traps quick tomorrow?
Yeah, I think they will. Actually, I don't like when I'm confident, but I'm really quite confident for tomorrow. But I do. I think they'll come out right good and early and go for it. It's, as you said, it's one of those games where last season we were up against them and we had to overcome it, and we did. But this time, longer season, we've got a full. Hopefully there's no interruptions to it. We've got a full season ahead. But if we can get those 3 points, what a great start that will give us.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys have a preference for your starting 11 tomorrow, please do let us know in the comments. Do get involved. As we say, we're happy to take the steer in the conversation from yourselves watching. Now, we will look back on Greenock Morton, but we do also have a guest joining us in about 15 minutes' time, where we will be joined by Clyde number 1, David Mitchell, to give us his thoughts on kind of pre-season and looking ahead, obviously, to the season to come. So we're looking forward to speaking to Mitchie as our first-time second guest. So his own wee bit of history. Well, let's call it history, right? We'll wag it up a wee bit. So Greenock Morton 2, Clyde 1. It wasn't to be for the Bully Wee. Craig, we'll come to yourself first. It was just maybe a game too far, too early in the season, or did we maybe just let ourselves down in the day? What do you think?
Well, there's a couple of wee mistakes, but I mean, as Danny said, the players are allowed to make mistakes. They're going to, if ever there's going to be a time, it's that tournament to do it. But I mean, what a goal for Ali as well. It was unbelievable. There's potential goal of the season before we really even start. But no, it was maybe just one of those games that just a wee bit too much for us at that point. And as you said earlier, for us being 1-0 up and we're top of the group, winning the group to ending up finishing bottom is just, who's like us, you know?
Yeah,
it's a weird one.
Graham, dare I say it, it was also very Clyde, that 15 minutes from pure elation from Ali's absolute wonder goal. We're making a bit of a habit of scoring goal of the seasons in July. Hopefully we continue the trend on a bit more this year. But yeah, there was just something very Clyde about it, Graham, wasn't there?
It's always kind of been the way, always the bridesmaid, never the brides. But it's one of these things where when you look at things and take a step back, they're a championship team. We've just played a championship team the week before in Kilmarnock. We've lost narrowly twice. There's been some things that Danny has mentioned that we need to work on, possibly defensively, but there's also been some bright spots there as well. So none more so than Ali's goal, but also the fact that he's contributed with a penalty against Kilmarnock as well. So he's coming up with some big goals. But yeah, I think as well, if you look at possibly maybe we should have been beating East Kilbride. We played well enough to win, and that's maybe where we've let ourselves down and just given ourselves too much to do. But it's typical Clyde that we go from the high to the low. But it's also, as Craig said, it's more like a pre-season. So we get the nonsense, and we've not lost a good goal yet, in my opinion. So that's something that we could, I'm sure Danny will be looking at to try and get addressed, so that when we're playing teams round about the same level as we did against Airdrie, and we know how that game went, that's a calibre of teams and opposition we'll be coming up against, and where we can be properly judged and take it from there, get rid of the silly mistakes, get back to playing the way we were at the start of the pre-season with a bit of confidence, I would say, through the passing from Gomez and Splain and getting up to Goody, and I would like to see Ali in a number 10 role. But yeah, we've lost narrowly to two championship teams. Where they'll finish up is entirely up to themselves, but as a step up, and we've not disgraced ourselves. So the results, certain things of the games, a wee bit disappointing, but on the back of that as well, if somebody just said to us, how are you going to go on against Morton at Capello or against Kilmarnock, you're going to lose 2-1, it's not unexpected.
Yeah. And I've read a lot of comments online. Sorry, just quickly, good morning from Australia, from Thomas. Good morning, sir. I'm hoping it's well, I'm assuming it's sunny over there. It probably normally is. So yeah, Clyde podcast reaching the land of Oz. Kind of beat it, can we, guys? Yeah, the matches, and I think if you take them in each in context, and I think there has to be a degree of context in it. Kilmarnock beating Clyde at this moment in time isn't a disgrace. It's not unexpected. We've got more of a chance against Morton, but they're still a full-time team. The conditions that we've played in as well have been quite brutal, I think, as well. I'm not trying to make excuses, right? Ultimately, we didn't defend well enough. Something that Conrad touched upon last week, Danny has mentioned in his post-match, and by the same token, I dare say David Mitchell will probably maybe touch upon it himself, who knows. But there's got to be a degree of allowing the guys to settle and gel. It's far too early to press a panic button, in my opinion. Craig, I don't know what your thoughts are.
I don't even see a panic button there at all. I think there's a couple of mistakes, and we were punished by teams at a higher level than us. That's what's going to happen against teams in the leagues above. And these players will learn from that as well. But I don't think we disgraced ourselves by any mark, maybe apart from the first 5 or 10 minutes against Kilmarnock. We looked very ropey, but after that they came back into it, showed good character in the second half as well, and it was a completely different game in the second half. But no, I take from it what we got. I think we done okay. I think bottom was harsh, considering how the games went and how the results went. It just seems crazy that we finished bottom, but no, I think we've got a lot to take into tomorrow's game, and I'm going into it with a lot of enthusiasm, and I think the boys will as well.
Yeah, so just for another bit of context, when you're talking about being bottom and it being harsh, some will argue that the performances maybe merited it. However, we still earned 5 points from the group, which in normal circumstance would never have resulted in a bottom place position. It's just unheard of, I think, in that particular competition. But as Lynn points out here, there was a technicality behind it, and that East Kilbride and Stranraer did get 2 default victories in matches that they would more than likely, don't think it's unfair to say, have won. So if you take them out of the equation, we sit third, which is probably par for the course.
Yep.
Based on the teams, I don't think that's much of a jump.
And I think when you take into consideration that there's been so many new guys come in, I can't even tell you how many signings. It's something like 10 or 11 signings have come in. So
I think it's 12 now. Could be 12.
Maybe
Taddy signed. So
from that point of view, it's to me it's very positive.
And I think it's the entire backline that's changed, and it's something that I want to touch upon with David when we get him online. But that in particular is such a key, important area of every football team that you need that to settle and gel. And these are four guys at the back who will have never played together. I think only Mitch and Adam Livingston will have spent any game time together from.
That's just happens with me.
Guys, I lost you there. I'm back.
Just bear with us, guys. Sorry, we've got some technical issues here. We've got Craig back, and we'll just get Graham. I think he's a jinx now. It has to be.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. He's the Grim Reaper of Wi-Fi. He just goes about crashing it everywhere. Apologies, folks. We'll work on that, and Graham will be back with us. If not, he can just take the mannequin's place. Right.
What we're talking about there, you remember Rumsby's been with Mitch for a couple of seasons as well, so
that's true. That's true.
He'll hopefully be a bit of rock there as well. Some player.
So yeah, but the new guys, Ballatoni has been quite impressive from early performances. Won quite a few Man of the Match awards through the owners' votes. He certainly kind of settled in well. Graham, will welcome back to the party. Any particular kind of highlights or issues that you want maybe identified at the defence? Has there been things that give you enough encouragement that things are going to work out well?
I think, to be fair, and I don't mind, I'm glad I'm on this week and not last week, but I'm more than happy to say that I've been proved wrong so far by Conrad signing. I thought he's been excellent to this point. And I think as well, when you look at the player that Jonathan Page can be, I think that's maybe somebody that we want to see. He's been injured, and there beside Conrad in the centre of defence. But you're right, it is a new defence, and it takes time to gel. And noticing some of the way they're trying to play out from the back, Morgara Gomez is dropping deep, Aaron Splain's dropping deep at times as well. So these are things that will work fine in training, and it might not be the pre-season games that we've had. Maybe it's not worked every single time, but I still believe if that's the intention that Danny's got them going with, keep trying it, and it could be. I think there's enough ability in the middle of the park to protect the defence. Yeah, if we were being picky, could we get some more pace at the back in central defence? Possibly, but I can't run very fast, so I'm not going to criticise anybody for that. I think we could do with maybe another signing if it's available to provide some cover. We've got Scott Rumsby in there as well, who's been stalwart for us. But yeah, we all want more, we all want better. We know what's out there. We know what our constraints are at times as well. I think the proof will be in the pudding from tomorrow when we're playing teams that are at our same level and how we compete against that. But yeah, Ballatone's looked very good. Livingston at times against EKFC was proper left back, getting up and down there. And even Billy Mortimer, you can see there's a rawness with him. But yeah, the first game that I seen him against Albion Rovers looked a bit nervous at the start, but then the rain came down and he was firing into challenges and looked, really as like a player that the fans will full-blooded and get behind. And he's a young boy. There's been mistakes, but he's a Clyde player, so we judge him. Yeah. More than just one game, more than what his reputation has been previously at other clubs, and what other fans think about him. I mean, we don't do that at Clyde, or we shouldn't. So he's a Clyde player. We'll get behind him, from 3:00 tomorrow.
Yep, absolutely, Graham. Just before, we do have Mitch waiting in the wings, normally in goals. But before we get David on to join us, just to wrap up a couple of Danny's thoughts on the game. So post-match, he just says, in terms of the first goal, you could see one or two heads going down. I thought young Billy had covered up the long ball through very well and then just fails to deal with it. The reason I mention this is it's a learning curve for them. What would you be rather dealing with, defending a corner or taking kick-off? So it's these fine lines and fine margins that the guys are going to have to learn with if they've maybe not played League One football. We found out the hard way as well in our first season up after promotion. It's a different ball game. It's you get punished where you don't get punished in, say, League One or other levels. Danny went on to just add this other thing, just before we get David on, saying this is something we have to learn, that we eradicate these mistakes ahead of a very demanding and vigorous league campaign coming up. So yeah, all about learning and all about building on the positives, but also building on the negatives, taking those negatives and let's flip them into a positive. And as you say, Graham, come 3:00 tomorrow, backed by hopefully a full, or as full as we're allowed to, stand of Clyde fans. We get right behind the boys. Now, we've talked a lot about the defence in our opening gambit of 17 minutes and Wi-Fi issues. Again, I'm looking at you, Graham.
Yeah, okay.
However, behind the back four, we are obviously in very good shape, and we have been since, I believe, May 2019, when a certain David Mitchell joined the club. Now, if his pre-season form and Premier Sports Cup form is anything to go by, I don't see that changing anytime soon. So with that in mind, I am delighted to add David Mitchell to the show. David, how are you doing?
Not bad. How are you getting on?
Yeah, all good, all good. So how are you feeling ahead of tomorrow? Is it an excitement building now? Or
I've been looking forward to it, obviously, for a wee while now. First game of the season is always a good one. It's always one to look forward to. So no, I'm pretty excited for it.
Has it just been do you feel a preparation? The Premier Sports Cup was obviously a cup competition, and players will very much treat it as a competitive match. But has there been maybe one eye on the opening league game to really get out there and make a mark early doors in the league?
I think so. I mean, like you say, it's a competitive game, so obviously you want to go and win it. But at the same time, again, we had a game Saturday, Tuesday. Now, to do that so early on in the season, again, I think it's pretty ridiculous. So the gaffer obviously changed it up as much as he could to keep boys fresh and try and stay away from injuries. So at the same time, they are kind of treated as a time to try different things. But as any footballer, there's no footballer there that doesn't want to win. So we were pretty disappointed last Saturday that we didn't actually manage to get through. And considering how close we were, I think at one point in the Saturday we were top, and then ended up finishing was at bottom or something. So that's very disappointing. But it's difficult, especially at this time of season. You don't want to be getting any injuries or any problems before that first league game.
Yeah, the conditions as well that we played in, being in Scotland, I don't think you're expecting to be playing 3 matches in the space of a week in 25, 26 degree heat. You should probably got to top up your tan a wee bit, Mitch, if nothing else.
To be fair, that's always a plus. But no, it was difficult. It was hot. I think it was the East Kilbride game in the warm up was just absolutely horrendous. How hot it was, and the sun was right in my face, and I remember I was kind of bending down on my knees, and James, the goalie coach, said to us, "Are you alright?" I just thought, no, I'm struggling here. It was just that. It was that hot, and try to keep drinking water is again difficult. But no, I don't like to complain too much because I know come next month will probably be absolutely freezing at Broadway.
Hail, rain,
exactly. So I don't like to complain too much. It's something that we're not kind of used to, is that heat, but it was good. But honestly, it is difficult to play in that weather.
If you look at the Premier Sports campaign or League Cup, I'm just going to call it League Cup because I can't get used to calling it that. The League Cup campaign as a whole, taking aside the fact that we finished bottom, I think most people feel that because of the other issues with other teams getting awarded points, it was maybe somewhat harsh. Do you think that there was some definite positives to take, and it's not all just the negatives, looking to build and maybe work on some of the defensive issues that Danny's talked about? There were positives, and it's not just us in this studio that feel that, is it, Mitch?
No, it definitely is. I mean, it's a lot. I was quite frustrated with some of the games. I mean, you go prime examples, first half of the Kilmarnock game. How I thought we were absolutely terrible. To be fair, getting in at half time, the boys just didn't look themselves to me. And then we went out in the second half, and I thought we were brilliant. I thought we were really good. And in the end, I think we could have got something. But it's what do you say? It's just there's loads of new faces into the club, and we're still trying to gel together and get things right. And like I said before, the gaffer's trying to work out, what's kind of best going forward as well with these new faces that we've got in. So no, I think there's plenty of positives to take. But like I heard you say, the negatives are there to work on. And done that, basically just turn them into a positive. So there's plenty to be positive about.
So you mentioned the Kilmarnock game. I hope you don't mind me bringing back that first half. You were a very busy man, David. I think there was a particular double save. It was very impressive. Do you feel you're in personally good shape ahead of the new season?
I feel, to be fair, I've spoken to Matty, the sports scientist at the club, and I've said to him that this is probably the best shape I've been in my career. And again, thanks to him. I mean, this is a guy that doesn't really get mentioned, which is a bit frustrating. What he's doing at the club is he's trying to push. No, he's trying to push the boys forward and bring these ideas in. And to be fair, the boys were all putting in the work. And I'm very lucky as well that we've got James at the club as well. I mean, he's a great goalie coach. Obviously, Chris Fahey left, and again, we are very lucky that James came in. And these two guys for me have been great. They've really helped me kick on again, and I'm looking forward to kind of working with them again for the season.
So Matthew, am I right in saying he's kind of head of sports science, is it, or kind of conditioning at the club? Can you give us a wee bit more on kind of what's his kind of purpose and role at the club for anyone that doesn't know Matthew?
So he probably does a lot more than what a sports scientist should, but he's got the boys in the gym before training, so he's working on all that, the physics and try to get the boys more powerful, a bit of strength about us. And then he looks after boys warm up wise, make sure they're ready to go. He managed to get GPS vests and stuff like that into the club last season, which wasn't easy. But fair play to him, he done it, and that helps him out loads with, looking at boys and seeing if they're doing too much, too late, if they're not doing enough, and how much they're actually putting into games and training and stuff. So again, all that goes back to helping the gaffer, and in the end, it helps us on a Saturday. It gives us that edge over maybe some clubs that don't have that luxury. But what he's doing at the club's brilliant, and like I say, he doesn't get enough credit for me. I'm quite close to the wee man, so it's easy for me to say that, but I'm pretty sure a lot of the boys will feel the same.
There you go. We'll make sure that if we get the boys in future, we'll see you. Well, on the GPS, is there anyone you want to throw under? Is it throwing any surprises up? Who's the lazier?
I don't really know, to be fair, because I don't ask too many questions. I just go about whatever he tells me to do, I do. So I don't really pay attention too much to that. And I mean, the goalies have got a different one for the few players, so I try to look at what they're doing. That's up to Matty. Maybe if you get Matty on, he'll chuck somebody under the bus.
Right, aye. We're going to get. We're going to get somebody, because we don't take that on this show.
Yeah, we need to gossip.
Aye, we need players chucking each other under the bus for the laughs here.
He's like that last season. I've done that last season.
So, just looking at some of the comments coming in, we've got, I think, our first question here for you, David, and it's from Andrew. What's been your best result from your time at the club so far?
Probably, let me think. Probably the 1-0 win away to Falkirk, I think. Purely, maybe being a bit selfish here, but for personal reasons, I went through quite a bit at Falkirk, and it was a wee bit like closing a book, that game for me. I remember after I was quite emotional as well. My mum and my dad were there, and my auntie, who looked after me during my rehab quite a lot. So not to beat also one of my old clubs at their home ground was pretty special. But there's plenty of, I mean, even last season, these Fife game, the last game of the season was also, we knew how big that was. If we went back down to League Two, it would just be absolutely devastating. So that was a big one for me as well.
What was the dressing room like ahead of that game? Were there signs of nerves? I mean, I can only speak for myself here, but I'm greyer as a result of that whole
summer.
And Graham would have been greyer as well, but like it was brutal. It was Clyde in a nutshell. We took the lead, and you thought, okay, let's just see it out. Then there was a penalty, and then we're 10 minutes from the playoffs, and obviously come with the hour, come with the man. Mr. Goodwill, he nods home. It was dramatic, but please don't do it this year. Can we just be higher up, going for the good playoffs this time?
Yeah.
No, that's like you say. I mean, and talking about before the game, it was strange because it just seems as if there was absolutely no nerves in that change room. It just seemed as if we all knew what we had to do, in either way we were going to do it. Do you know what I mean? So it was weird. But again, it's the way I think we should be before every game. The change room of boys we've got is brilliant. Do you know what I mean? We should have a bit more belief in ourselves, I think. But like you said, it was just one of the games that you just felt like it was never going to happen. We were never going to be in the playoffs. Even the penalty decision is still absolutely baffles me. I just don't understand how he's gave that as a penalty. Stuff like that goes on in box all the time, grabbing and pulling. But for once, I mean, there was no grabbing and pulling. I just don't know what he's seen, but maybe he was just trying to make it a bit more dramatic for Goody to just be another hero. So not that he needs that, but
no.
That's Goody. You just know he's he's going to come up with something.
Right place, right time. Craig, what were your thoughts on the penalty? I know you're you like to critique. You critique referees on a weekly basis from the sidelines.
It was baffling. It was never a penalty in a million years. I don't think any of us watched it could say. I mean, I was fortunate enough to be there, and like Mitch says, before the game, I was quite confident when I saw the boys warming up. I didn't see any ounce of nerves from any of them. I thought they looked as if they were quite calm and ready. But back to the penalty, no, I'll maybe no mention.
Move on. Move on.
Yeah,
so we don't get cancelled, please. I honestly think the boys were probably too tired to be nervous, given the run of fixtures that we'd been on. I don't know how he's genuinely managed to go over the line, and you get our absolute gratitude for it. But yeah, that was then. This is now, and. Looking ahead, we touched upon the kind of turnover of players. There's been quite a significant turnover. For yourself, how do you think as one of the stalwarts, you've been there for, this is your third season now at Clyde, David. How do you feel the new boys are settling in? Is it?
They're settling in great. To be fair, we've also had a great change room. That's ever since obviously my first season. Lovey, Goody, Kev, Nick, just. Barry, the boys that have been there for years are just there's no one bad egg in the changing room, and if there was, you know what I mean, it'd be quickly be solved. But no, everybody that's came in is obviously they have to make sure that they're good people first and foremost, I think. And they are, to be fair, and even going by training and the games that you've probably seen, boys are settling in and well. Obviously, there's been some times during the games that we've struggled, but like I said, it's pre-season and these things are going to happen, and that is the time to be working on these things. But not everybody's fitting in great. Obviously, I've been quite lucky to play with quite a few boys that have came in. So I've had that relationship there with these boys to begin with. So no, we're looking good in that side of things.
Yeah, Robert West just kind of making a wee comment here on the squad position. So we do obviously still have Kevin Nicol coming back, who, especially in that run-in last year, was pivotal. His experience, his wholeheartedness, shall we say, his eagerness in the tackle, and obviously the addition of Gregory Taddy as well. Once we get Gregory up to fitness, I'm sure he's going to be a welcome addition. So yeah. Can't disagree with Robert. Overall, I do think there's a very decent squad there. Martin Brown wholeheartedly agrees with you, Mitch, saying that we need to be going into every game with our heads up and ready to battle if needed. And I think that's been Graham, and Craig, will come to yourself. You've supported the club, I'm allowed to say, a touch longer than myself. Clyde are always known for being a team that's ready to fight when we need to and really knuckle down. And that's what Clyde fans really want to see from their players, isn't it?
That's
I think now more than ever, and we'll come to David in the middle in a minute about this, sorry. There's been some fans back at Broadwood, okay, but the fans are the 12th man, okay, so the one thing that we always demand, if you like, is honesty, is just wholeheartedness and 100%. We can forgive, people make mistakes sometimes online, maybe we don't, but at the games we can we forgive if mistakes can happen if people are trying, okay. We're also can be quite honest if they're not, but most of the time we've got players there that are willing to play for the jersey, so that's all we really ask. We've now got obviously a fantastic core through the middle of the team, with Mitch, Goody, Ali, Magaro Gomez, a tremendous core through the team, and you've got some real talent surrounding it as well. And I think it's a hope that kills you sometimes as well. So I think we're always expecting to just be better than what we were previously. We had our times, past 15, 20 years where it was just a case of how bad is it going to be this year, but for other reasons given. But with Danny at the helm, with a great goalkeeper, the best striker outside the Premiership, I don't think that can be debated. There's ability there. We've got we've got a Scottish trophy winning manager. We've also got Alan Moore, and he will keep him on his toes. But we've got all these things in place. So let's get away from being, negative, behind the keyboard and just get out at the games, support the boys on. And I'm sure Mitch will agree that will make a difference to, especially, last week, even the Morton game, no Clyde fans there, apart from some galoots behind one of the goals shouting. But apart from that, the fans will make a difference. So it's the first game of the season. Ignore what happened, in the League Cup, because there was other things that was happening there as well. But let's, from the first kick-off tomorrow, get behind the team, because it will make a difference, and I'm sure Mitch will agree.
Yeah, David, obviously the lack of fans last year, do you think that really had a sizable impact on maybe performances at times?
I honestly believe it was a massive, it played a massive part in how the season went. Not have any fans, I think, was absolutely brutal. To be honest, I mean, my first season there was games that we weren't doing great, but then all of a sudden we just got a boost to the Clyde fans, and it really is. It's like the old cliche, but it really is like the 12th man. The Clyde, I've honestly, I mean, I've never really experienced anything like that with fans in my career so far. So, like you said, I mean, tomorrow is going to be pretty special, I think. And the boys in the change room as well. We've spoke about this, and we've kind of not drilled it into the new boys that come, but we've mentioned it certainly that the size of the club that it is, and the support that we have, we should be looking at kicking on and aiming for promotion up again. We've also got the Raffers, very ambitious. I'm ambitious. We've got Ali Love, who's just a complete winner. Goody, who's been there and done it. Kev Nick's just a total winner. Conrad as well. I've played with Conrad before, been there, done it. It's a team of winners, and we will need the fans, certainly during the season, because it's not a big secret that everybody goes through a wee rough patch, and I feel as if that's where Clyde fans can get you through. No, it's going to be pretty special tomorrow, and hopefully for the season going forward.
I think that's something that's over the last maybe 3 or 4 seasons that's really came through. Well, previously, it's like standing at Broadwood sometimes, and some of the fans can be quite unforgiving at times. Mm-hmm. But the last 3 or 4 seasons, it's seen a change where the honesty for the team, honesty for the players on the pitch, kind of brought itself to the fans and brought the fans to them. There was that connection, and I think that connection's still going and it's still growing. And tomorrow, I think we'll see it back again the way it should be. Can't wait.
Yeah, new faces but same connection, Craig. Yeah. That's the way I'm looking at it. It's the same badge on the chest, and it's maybe a new batch of players, but there's still obviously Mitch, and we've got all these other guys who have been heroes to us in the last few years as well. So let's make a new wee bit of history. And I've got a couple of comments here coming in. Stuart Ross, #1 keeper in the league. Let's just get into them from the first minute. Perhaps maybe not Danny's post-match or pre-match speech done there, but yeah, I get the general think of where he's going with it. Andrew asking another wee question. He's putting you on the spot here, Mitch. Where do you think we should be aiming for in the table?
I think minimum playoffs, very minimum to go up. I can't go through another season like last year. And like I said before, with the size of the club, the support we've got, the facilities, everything that we've got going for us, we should be aiming to go up again. And we've got the players to do that. Like you said, we've had a good experience as well, boys that have been there and done it. So there's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't be up that end of the table.
I think the spine, we've used this I've used this in the past few weeks in the show, and we talked about it with Conrad last week when we had him on. The spine of the team is really there this year, which is maybe we've not had maybe for a few seasons. So you've got yourself, very experienced goalkeeper. You have Conrad, even Jonathan Page, very experienced. Scott Rumsby even as well, has played plenty of matches at this level. Then you go into Morgado Gomez in central midfield and David Goodwillie up top. That's not a bad starting place for to build a team round. It's really not. So yeah, I don't see why we can't. And there have been, I think you touched upon it, people online, Graham, that there's a degree of panic with some and maybe uncertainty over like how the team performed in pre-season in the Premier Sports, but it's still very early days. I mean, we haven't kicked a ball in the league yet. So if we're maybe still having issues in a few months' time, I'm sure Danny will be the first to address it, and David, you'll be certainly able to back that up. He's not going to sit and watch the same thing happen week in, week out if it's not working.
No, definitely. He's basically, the way I describe him, he's a full-time manager at basically a part-time club. The work he puts in obviously is kind of, I don't know if he ever spends time with his families, you know that, because that's how much work he puts in. But he's not going to let that happen. Yeah, I can't kind of speak higher enough of the guy for that way. But that's what I said as well. I mean, you're going to have rough patches. You're going to go through tough spells. That's football. I mean, if you were absolutely flying every week, battering teams, then we wouldn't be where we are. So it's just part and parcel of football, that side of it. But again, that's where fans come into it, and the work that the gaffer and then Murray put in the training ground, we'll sort that. So no, we'll be fine.
Good thing is as well, we've got different options this season. We've got different options this season to what we had last year. Danny said it himself, the options up top for us. There's different ways to play now with Rob Jones there, who looks like he could be a target man but plays with the ball at his feet. So there's plenty of options that we've not had last season.
I think Dom said last week, and it's probably a good wee link into tomorrow's match, that Rob Jones is looking everything that the Dumbarton fans said he wasn't. In particular with his goal against East Pride, it was a lovely cushioned finish into the far post. And I think getting behind these guys that are new in, that maybe I've taken, I mean, Dumbarton fans gave Rob Jones a fair bit of stick online. I'm not sure how aware of it he was, but we can get right behind these guys and really push them on. I truly believe that. And David, you mentioned that we can be that 12th man, that cliche if you want to call it that, but we can help bring players up to a new level. And we're going to start it from 3 o'clock tomorrow, or 2:45. Let's get in early and get a bit of atmosphere going. So it's the night before the big game. It's Christmas Eve in football terms. How are we feeling? I'll come to yourself, Craig, and Mitch is online, so you can't be too negative here, right? So if I was to sit you down and say, tell me, what's the full-time score going to be? We're going full-time scores straight away. Go for it.
I think we're going to win 2 or 3-1. I'm sorry, Mitch. I do see
no clean sheet, Mitch. Jeez.
I know, it's going to kill me.
My clean sheet bonus is gone, man.
I think we'll win 2 or 3-1. And I'm looking forward to a celebration selfie with the zoom lens on this time, Mitch.
If they tried to recreate
I didn't believe that wouldn't work.
He tried out with a 300 mil zoom. You need to get 40 feet away. I think I
don't know enough about cameras.
There they are. And I don't want to play it down or be disrespectful to Dumbarton or anything, but I'm just confident for it. I really am. I'm maybe overexcited, but I'm just confident. I think we will win. I do think we'll win.
Right, Graham?
Yep, 3-0. Mitch gets his clean sheet bonus.
Yes.
Right, okay. Right, I'll trouble you for goal scorers because I don't want to pressurise you too much, but we've got a couple of predictions. We've got Kyle Hamilton. He's going for 2-0, and I'm assuming you mean for Clyde here, Kyle. Otherwise, you're going to make me very unhappy. One of the other comments we've got here from Martin is let's give Chris a warm welcome back. He is, of course, talking about Christopher Sivertson, who was one of the promotion winning team who was signed for Dumbarton. Are you looking forward to being up against Big Norway, Mitch, tomorrow?
It'll be good to see him. To be fair, he's a good big guy. A lot of time for him. I think he was just from my time at the club. It was just really unfortunate with his injuries that he had. Them were pretty serious knee injuries. So I don't like seeing that, and it was a shame to see that happen, especially to a boy who you could see was so talented. But when you've got a knee injury like he had, and he did last season, he did try to play through it. It's not going to work. It's just not going to happen. So no, it'll be good to see him. I just hope that he's quite quiet. He doesn't see much of the ball, but no, it'll be good to see the big man. I've got a lot of time for him.
Yeah, he's one of a couple of danger men I think we need to be on the lookout for. Graham, we'll come to yourself and then we'll come back to yourself, David. Is there any other kind of main men that we need to be mindful of and keep a close eye on? Get a result tomorrow? No? All right, okay.
No, I think, to be fair, obviously Big Chris contributed, especially to when we won the league. One promotion. I keep thinking we should have won the league. But I think if the Clyde team that I've seen so far this season gets out at 3 o'clock with the right frame of mind, the right attitude, which I'm sure Danny and the experienced guys in the team will instill upon them, I don't see any concern from the Dumbarton team at all. They're a different proposition down there, but I also think, you know, they've not got Jim Duffy anymore, which was a strength of theirs previously. They had a particular way of playing, which maybe wasn't the most pleasing eye as an opposing team, but it was very, very effective. But I do think that, like a lot of the way that Clyde are trying to play just now, their new manager, it might take a wee bit of time to instill what he's trying to get in there. There's some good signings on paper. However, I just generally feel that if we get out there tomorrow right from the get-go, we don't need to worry about Dumbarton at all.
Okay, you've kind of thrown me there. I thought you were going to give me some tactical insights, but cheers for that, Graham.
I'm only concerned about Clyde.
Is there any? I know if Boyce was here, he would be giving it Joe McKee. I think he's one of the kind of main threats, if you were to ask myself and Boyce. He's a man that brings a lot of assists to the team, but I think Dumbarton have certainly struggled for goals last term. Their strength was, as you touched upon, Graham, in defence. Is it just Joe McKee? Are we doing them a disservice? Do they have a wee bit more this year? They've made a lot of changes like ourselves.
I'll be honest, I don't know. I don't know who they're going to come up with now.
Well, we're super professional here, aren't we, guys? Jeez,
Dumbarton, who?
Right, Mitch, I think we just go straight to Mitch. I'm assuming he's got some insight into them.
They've made a lot of changes, and they're going to play a completely different way to what I think they were last season. Without being disrespectful to Jim Duffy, it was a solid defence, but they did play a lot of long, high balls and a big physical game. I don't think they'll go down that line this time, which I think might benefit us because we like to play the ball on the deck. But my biggest concern is if Christoph plays and he plays well, because I think he can be a match winner. He was for us in a number of games. He's one of the most skillful guys that I've seen on his feet at the ball. So, we'll still win.
Right, Mitch, please give me something more than just a couple of liners from these gents here. Obviously, without giving away any specific tactical discussions that have been ongoing this week, that they do have a wee bit more to them. I would suggest in the attacking front this term.
I think they definitely do. I mean, you mentioned the boy Joe McKee. I'm quite close to Joe. I was at Falkirk with him. I travelled with him, so I know how good a player he is. Like you said, he's delivering his free kicks. He is very dangerous. And they've got the boy. They've still got the boy McGeever and the Barry Buchanan, who are both a threat in the box. Jan Geggen as well is very good in the air. So I think they'll be a lot better than last season. No foot being disrespect to them last season. No, I think they'll be a totally different team. Last season, so it's going to be tough. And I know the management team really well. The goal coach is actually one of my best mates, Big Eric, the guy with the biggest hands I've ever seen in my life. So I'm going to stay away from him before the game in case he just crushes my hand or something. So I know obviously Stevie Farrell is the assistant manager now, so I know how good he is at motivating players. I mean, he speaks so well. He's very, very good at that. So they are going to be dangerous. And obviously I played with the assistant as well. Big Franco, I played with him, so I know he knows what he's doing. So no, they definitely will be a lot better than last season. Again, I don't want to be too disrespectful to them last season because I'm a big fan of Jim Duffy as well. So no, I think it'll be totally different. But like I've said before, I mean, especially when you've got good in your team. I mean, he can take teams on himself. So I mean, he's that good. And that done with the boys that we have signed. Mo's unbelievable. What a talent! And like I said, but Lovey and we Ross Cunningham as well. I mean, we've got plenty there that should go and deal with Dumbarton.
Yeah, and I think Conrad said last week he was very much of the opinion let's not concentrate on what they do. It's all about what we do. We turn up, we play, we're giving ourselves the best chance. I suppose it's a simple thing to say.
I just said it though.
Yeah, but I suppose it's the execution. It's the execution. Yeah, and that's obviously where the guys come in. So, yeah, I'm not sure what to expect from Dumbarton myself. I think most of the comments are coming in saying that it's going to be a wee bit different. I think we're all in agreement than the Jim Duffy Dumbarton. When you look at their defensive unit, which was so solid despite finishing second bottom, it's mad to say I think they had the third best defence in the league last year. Yet they were in the relegation playoff. Their issues were very much elsewhere. They have lost Morgan Neal to Cove, who was a big part of that. I'm pretty sure David Goodwillie will not be caring that partnership is split up because he didn't have a lot of joy against Dumbarton when they were a pairing. Perhaps that was maybe down to how we played against them. We perhaps maybe went to their strengths rather than our own. But yeah, I think that backline being broken up gives me a wee bit more confidence that there's going to be more goals for us against Dumbarton this year.
I think so, and I'm not sure if we look back in the stats, but it seems that Goody's missed the most amount of games against Dumbarton than any other team, especially down there. The kind of midweek games, the rearranged games, the pitch getting waterlogged the second week of the season, that kind of stuff. But these things, I think, the rearranged games that we've had and the midweek games we've had down there, it somebody will correct me, but it didn't seem to feature in not all of them. So again, he's played against them at Broadwoods, but I think if he can get a good run out against them tomorrow, as you say, with a different defensive line and maybe a different approach from them, then you might get some more joy from it.
Yeah, I think it's first game of the season as well. Dumbarton are probably having the same conversation and amongst their own fan base and the players is they'll be coming out and looking to make their own mark and let their own fans and let others in the league know that they have no intention of finishing ninth this season. Craig's decided to dip out.
You can't blame me for that one.
It's not you this time, but we might blame you. So yeah, the season ahead, Mitch, obviously you said we've got to aim as high as possible, so minimum promotion playoffs. Obviously it's a marathon, it's not a sprint. Tomorrow will not dictate that. Do you put a lot of onus though at the same time on getting that result first thing?
I think it is massively important to get off to a good start. Just starts breeding confidence as well. Again, if you lose tomorrow and then next week it doesn't work so well, and the following week maybe a draw, and then next week the pressure starts building. So I think if you can get the points on the board early doors, it's a totally different atmosphere within the place. So it's massively important to get off to a good start for me. And like you said as well, see if it doesn't happen, then so be it. You dig in and charge on. So it is important, but at the same time, it's something that you don't want to get too hung up on. Again, that your boys start getting kind of uptight and nervous, and you don't want that. So no, it is important for me, but it's again at the same time, you need to kind of just relax a wee bit about it.
I don't like putting too many stats out there or omens and the likes, but Clyde do have a particularly good record in opening games in the last kind of 10 years or so, and some of those seasons weren't always particularly great. Obviously last year I'd like bringing it up, but we obviously beat Thistle 1-0. I don't think any Clyde fans going to not like hearing that. So yeah, we've got a bit of a history then, Mitch, so no pressure, guys. Just a couple of comments just coming in before we start wrapping up. Graham, thanks for joining us again. Graham, St Mirren fan. Danny is a top gaffer. Obviously, you would say that. He won your League Cup. All-round great guy, and as mentioned, is very meticulous in his preparation. He's very thorough, and always thinks outside the box. Can't speak highly of him. Mitch, how big an influence has Danny been on yourself since you came to the club? How would he compare against maybe some of the other managers?
He's been massive for me in terms of I can trust him. And I mean, the managers I've had before him, Paul Hartley was really good with me, but I mean, Peter Houston, to be fair, was good as well. But after him, I mean, the experience I had with Ray McKinnon is just it really made me kind of, think, is this worth it? Do you know what I mean? Is it worth all this hard work to just be chucked the way in the manner in which he done it? So no, even the simple things with Gaffer, I mean, just the way he talks to you, and it's the wee things that matter the most to me. Every time he sees you, it's a big handshake, and he's absolutely buzzing to see you. So it's the wee things for me that go a long way with him. And again, the trust that he has in me as well. He's no shy to tell me how much what he thinks of me and how much he rates me. So again, that helps me come a Saturday and helps my performances as well. So no, he's been great with me, and he's always, without a doubt, he's up there the best that I've worked to.
Paul Connor's asking, speaking of wee things, where is Mini-Me? Get Sean.
They're actually on their way home. He was away up to his mum, took him and his sister, took Layla up to Braehead. He was going to pick a couple of birthday presents, so they should be home any minute. If he jumps in, I'll tell him to get on, but he'll end up he'll act shy kid on. He's a quiet wee boy. He's really an absolute maniac. So
just before we kind of start wrapping up, I've got a few kind of mentions to do. Before I do crack on to the stuff I've been asked to do, tick box exercises, David, do you just have a wee kind of message ahead of the season for the Clyde fans watching?
More or less kind of similar to last season, just to stick with us, because we need yous, and we appreciate how good yous are to us, and what yous bring to this club. It's strange because I've never really thought about the fans without being disrespectful. You kind of just have a tunnel vision when it comes to playing football, but you do really think of the Clyde fans, and it's something that is, it's a massive part of the club, is what they do for us. So no, just back us all the way, which I know you will do, and that's really looking forward to it. So no, it'll be good.
Yeah, you and us in unison. Absolutely looking forward to it. Now, a couple of shout outs. I'm like George Bowie now, Jesus. First of all, just with Paul Corner in the comments, a big happy birthday to Kathy, his mum, during the week. Kathy, who many will probably remember, I think she shaved her head pitchside once for fundraising for charity. So happy birthday, Kathy. I'm sure you'll be looking forward to the game as much as we are tomorrow. So yeah, just a couple of things just to call out. So there'll be a pop-up shop tomorrow at the stadium with a selection of the new replica kits, modelled ably by this headless man behind me. So getting fast. I'm not sure how much there is going to be available. So if you're wanting to buy it, you can do so. The Clyde View. So there's two ways that you can subscribe if you wish to do so. If you say live abroad or further afield and can't get to the games. So you can subscribe via the postal subscription to receive a copy of every edition of the multi-award winning programme. I've added that bit in myself. Which will be a minimum of 20 copies. And that's for the price of £100, which includes postage and packaging. Alternatively, you can subscribe to the digital version, which is for a cost of £50, and you'll receive that via email ahead of each match. And finally, just ahead of the match tomorrow, for those that can't attend, the stream is available and all the details are available on the Clyde website. The stream is £13, and I think the coverage should start about 2:45. So wherever you are, get behind the boys and cheer them on to victory. Mitch, goes without saying, obviously, good luck tomorrow. Good luck for the remainder of the season. You are, I should have said it, our first second guest. Is that the right guess? First to come back.
Yeah.
So you're one away for a hat trick. If I had a hat trick ball, I'll give you at the end of the season. Right? We'll get you back. Get you back before May. So all the best tomorrow. You can show off to the boys at training. We will get you back before the end of the season. That's a promise or a threat, whatever you want to take it as. And yeah, good luck to yourself and the boys for the rest of the season. We will be there. And until next week, we will be back to hopefully review 3 points and a Mitchell clean sheet. Until then, come on the Bully Wee.
Clyde.